This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, all you crypto boomers, it's Paul and Bud back with you this week talking crypto. It is April 7th. Man, time is just flying by. April 7th. And Bud and I were talking before we got started just how exciting it is to be in this space right now. And we've got some comments, we've got a couple of questions from some listeners that we're going to address. Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe, click the like button, click the bell. Make sure you get notifications whenever we post a new video. And I think last week or the week before, we said that Jay was going to be on with us. And I spoke with him this morning, and he will be on with us next week. So be looking forward to that. He's got some really exciting stuff going on, and he did a video yesterday on the Patreon that has got me really excited about what to do with one of our trades. I'm very excited about that. But anyway, before we get started in answering some questions, I just want to throw it over to Bud. And hey, Bud, how you been, man?
Well, we are becoming, well, certainly, when I look at my portfolio, we're actually having serious wealth come in to the portfolio. And it is because of our coach, because of our training, it's because of our mindset. And I am just accepting this as a gift for all the hard work we've put in over the years, and we're getting our fruits of our labor. But it's not too late, right, Paul, to get into this space?
Not at all. Not at all. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, and one of the things that as you're talking and you're talking about creating wealth, I tell you what, if you don't have your head on straight, if you don't have the psychological training, if you don't have that mindset right, people don't realize that, you get $1 million dumped in your lap and you're not prepared for it, you're probably going to lose it. So when
yeah, I mean, I was not prepared for this in 2017, and I'm almost grateful that we had a period of reflection and down markets to get the training, because now we are, as our coach says, we are in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. And I really, really believe in that.
100%. And I agree with you. It was hard to go through at the time. And I think we talked about it the last time we spoke, that as our portfolio goes up back in 2017, early 2018, and we're excited and we think, boy, here we go. And we're in the hodl mindset and we're thinking, Bitcoin's going in 500,000 to $1 million. And what's that mean to us? But then it turns around and does a major pullback, goes into a bear market. And it was hard to watch there for a little while. But, through that multi-year period, we continued to learn. Thank God we had Jay to continue to pour into us with his expertise. And now we're fortunate enough that we're prepared for this. And, we do recognize that we've got some baby boomers, some crypto boomers, as we call them, that have not had that training, that are just getting in the space and are just starting to see. I mean, I've talked to a couple that just started putting money into this space 3 months ago, the beginning of this year, and they're up over double, and they're amazed. They've had money in mutual funds and 401ks and stock market, and they've been happy with 8, 10, 15, 20%. And now they're talking 2 times their money in 3 months, and reality's starting to set in. They've got the excitement, but at the same time, we're going to have to compress some learning into a shorter period than you and I had, right, Bud?
Yeah, and just to add on some of that, like what we are having this wealth inflow, and in a way we want to give back to the community. Integrity to me is everything. And I know the crypto boomers can search YouTube and get 1,001 different supposed experts, giving their view. But we don't monetize this channel. We do this because we want to give back. We're full of integrity. We really, really want to help. And I would just encourage the crypto boomers to kind of almost try to really appreciate how they're getting information and whether that information they're getting from sources is pushing an agenda or is trying to sell something. We're not selling anything. We're just trying to give back to the community, and I love doing this.
Yeah, that's a great word right there, man. I like I said, back in the day, I had a few people that I followed, and I don't follow any of them now. Not that they're bad people or anything like that, but um, they were not helping prepare me for what was coming. And you know, it's a we talk about it all the time. You can look at these charts, and there's a chart up on the screen. If you're looking at this, if you're just listening, we have a Bitcoin chart up on the screen. We're going to talk a little bit about expectations and where our mindset was in 2017 as opposed to now. And but the whole point is, and we've talked about it a few times, is that 95% of people that win the lottery are broke in 5 years. And that is because their mindset is completely wrong to manage the wealth that has been dumped in their lap. And in this case, you know, it is not the lottery. It is a legitimate investment and a legitimate way to create wealth. As long as you know what you're doing, and as long as it is speculative. And you know, we talk about that frequently, and Jay talks about that all the time. But at the same time, you know, when you put money into Apple, you're speculating that it's going to go up. So anything you put your money into is somewhat speculative. Even back when we invested in silver and gold, we were speculating that it would at least keep up with the inflation rate so that we weren't losing money every year. But anyway, not to get off too far in the weeds, the whole key is being prepared for the wealth that you are creating. And we'll probably do a session on that here before too long. We could talk for hours on that. And Jay has a teaching that I forget, you may remember, but I think it was a 6-hour teaching on just that. That he still has available. And anyway, that's probably the most valuable lesson that I got from Jay as far as mindset. And trust me, you know, there's been plenty of other lessons that have made a lot of money, but that lesson teaches you how to keep that money that you make. And it doesn't matter how much you make if you don't keep it.
Well, Paul, we almost won the lottery a few years ago when we found our coach, and we, you know, us original, I guess, crew, the founders of the team we call the binge team, or I guess our coach calls the binge team. We won the lottery in a way that we didn't have the wealth come into our portfolios back then, but we had the educational wealth come into our minds. Our psychology was changed because of the training, and now it's almost like the reward is coming in after all those years of hard work and training and education. And so I guess I would appeal to the crypto boomers that don't look at this asset class as a quick win, as a chance to, you know, get a double or triple on your money and then you're out. Really, really put the work in, because you need to have that psychological training to, as you say, keep hold of this wealth.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down. Put the work in. That should be a sign that people tape to their computer screen. Put the work in. Put the work in. And you know, we're not sitting here. We're not hodlers. We're not sitting here hodling, because I tell you what. Here's to hodl. You know, if you can see the screen, let's just assume that you are a hodler. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, you just want to keep throwing money into, you know, a few of these assets, and I would hope that you would diversify. We're not giving financial advice here. We don't do that. But, you know, if that's what you did, be prepared to suffer some of the pullbacks because no market goes straight up. Here's an example of a very, very, very long period of time that if you hodled, which I did back then you went up and then you went through this bear market for this period of time. And I can assure you that I had a plan, we had a plan for our wealth creation, and I am not a hodler anymore. But anyway, let's jump over to this question from one of our listeners. It says, in a lot of Jay, in your videos, you talk about what crypto has already been successful since 2017. Can you talk to those of us that are just getting in about what the future looks like? Have we missed that big ship, or is there still plenty of room on the boat? You and I, we've talked about that, but it would be fun to hear from all of you what the future looks like from each of your eyes. As an example, in 2017, is this what you thought it would look like in 2021, or is it better? Let's just stop there. There's several questions there. The first one is, can you talk to those of us that are just getting in about what the future looks like? Why don't you take that one, Bud, and kind of in a nutshell, what do we think in the future looks like in crypto? And I think most people at this point, if you've been in this space for even a few months, you probably, and been listening to our videos or the Bitcoin Academy videos, and Jay, you probably know what we think the space is going to look like. But why don't you just recap that for us, Bud?
Yeah. So it's absolutely essential to get training. And I tell you what it does when you come into crypto as a newbie, like we've been newbies. Everyone's a newbie at some point. Mm-hmm. What it first of all does is it really questions your belief system about what is money, and it takes you down a bit of a rabbit trail for determining what it is we value, what it is we put our value in, and it helps us question what is fiat currency, how scarce is fiat currency. It really does open up a lot of questions, and then you start to realize that this training is not out there. How many books are there about money? How much education do we get during our school years on money? Even university. I did a degree in economics. At no point did they tell me what money was. Where's it come from? You just value it. You get used to it. And so the first thing I would say is, as a newbie, be prepared to have an open mind about what money is. And then as you start to go down the crypto route, you start to realize that actually the crypto and Bitcoin is the purest form of money that we could potentially have. And yes, there'll be different camps that you have to listen to different arguments, but as a pure form of scarcity and a pure form of money that you can send anywhere in the world, you just get used to living in this space. And then you, at some point, you find it quite difficult to go back to the old legacy system, because you're asking questions like, what, you're closed at the weekend? I can't access my money at the weekend. What do you mean I have 3 password tries on my app and then it locks me out? You know, all these questions, and then you realize that actually being in crypto, you start to get really, really, really used to it, and you don't want to be anywhere else. It's just so easy to use, but it does take training. So I would say that, you know, in terms of the mechanics of it, certainly as a newbie, it is very beneficial to actually use cryptocurrency for what it's intended for, which is, you know, as a store of value and to actually use as money.
Yeah, and I think one of the critical differences too is, and one of the reasons why we're really excited about this space is, number one, we have digital assets such as Bitcoin cash, digital money, excuse me, is something like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. But then we've got other projects that are use case specific, and we won't get into that, but at least today. But just to give an example, there are programs out there that are creating systems that will title your vehicle on the blockchain, that will title your home on the blockchain. And what that does is it lends credibility to that title that you hold on your house, to know that nobody else can hold that title, that it is on the blockchain. It's recognized throughout the blockchain as, being specific to that piece of property. And if you think that that's the case now, you ought to look up some different videos and articles on lending laws and how these lenders package all of these loans together and then sell it multiple times, to the point where if there is if there's a default, they have trouble finding out who has rights to come in and take possession of that home. So there's a lot of use cases that are going to clean up these spaces, and I think those are the exciting things, and we're just now in the infancy of that. But let me just show on this chart one of the reasons why we continue to be incredibly excited. This is current right here on this end of the chart. And I've showed this chart a few times on what our expectations are on Bitcoin and the movement of Bitcoin. We're waiting it to go up to the 75,000 range, somewhere in there, and then a pullback, ABC pullback, and then we'll go on up to another target. But if we go back to, I'm gonna scroll this back, or I'm gonna pinch this chart. This was 2017 right here. Let me move this up out of the way. So this was 2017. So back then, I'm going to show you what that chart looked like back then. It was, let's see if it lets me do it.
It looked massive at the time, right?
It looked massive. Okay. That back then was our chart. Okay. So just put that in perspective. Right here was the high, somewhere around $20,000. Okay, so this is the 2017 run up. If we pinch it back like I had it a minute ago, all right, I'm going to pinch this without changing that part of the chart, and I'm going to show you what it looks like here. It's off the chart. Okay, it leaves the chart. So then we have to pinch this down to even get where we're at today within the screen. Okay, so that should tell you how excited we are. Okay, we waited through this whole bear market knowing and having targets that Jay helped us with and gave us, to where we could wait for this, take profit, pivot into other projects, and multiply our wealth by 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. So just imagine being in this space back then, going through this time. This is the time that Bud was talking about, that we educated ourselves. We still made some money in these, by the way. We still made some money, but it was on other projects other than Bitcoin, and there were some that made some money on Bitcoin as well through the swings. But the whole point there is, have we missed, she asked, have we missed that big ship? Well, I can assure you that the target here for this after the ABC is way up in the many six figures. Okay, so that's our belief. That's where we're targeting Bitcoin. But if, let's just say, we go to, let's go to H bar. I'm going to move this over. I don't know if people can see that part, but it covers my screen and I'm unable to see part of it. So anyway, so H bar here,
Hey, Paul, I was talking about H bar quite a few months ago. Look, way down there on the left of the chart when it was really low.
absolutely. Well, look at this. Okay, so I mentioned it. I mentioned that we have some new people that have reached out that started investing back in January. Okay, and this was one of them that these two particular people, actually three people, had gotten into that we were talking about. And I wonder if there's a way for me to get rid of this stupid thing. There we go. Okay. So they got in back in January. Let's just say it's on this spike up here on the 8th. It was early January, I don't know, but that's 6 cents. Okay. So now we ran up to 44, but now we're at 30. So they're 5 times their money. They've been in the space 3 months. Okay. This is what this space can do, and this is what we fully expect it to do. And this is just the beginning for H bar. We have targets in the multiple dollars for H bar. So to ask, and I know, and I appreciate the question because it is important for people that are just getting in the space to recognize that we are excited about the future of this space. And is there still plenty of room in the boat? Absolutely. And I will say this, we have not even started mass adoption yet. And mass adoption is when the majority of people that you run into on the street own cryptocurrencies. And right now, I would venture a guess that if you talk to 20 people on the streets, maybe 2, and that might be overstating it, wouldn't you think, Bud?
Yeah, let me make a useful point for the crypto boomers. Many of us have been through lots of different trends in our time on this planet. And if you think about it, it must have been similar to those people of, hey, why do I need a mobile phone? I've got a landline, it works fine. And why do I need this thing called email? I send letters. Letters work fine. Why do I need to read a blog? I'm quite happy getting my newspaper from down the road. Why do I need streaming services? I've got Blockbusters. I could just pop out to Blockbusters. Why? I mean, the list goes on and on. Why? Social media and all this stuff that's come along. And here we are now with the most antiquated system imaginable, which is money. Trying to send something to the US from the UK through the banking system is so last century. It really is. So yeah, I would just encourage the crypto boomers. Look, we've been through many cycles. Now we're going through a cycle of transforming money, and you can either be with the trendsetters or you can be left behind. So that's what's in it for newbies.
Yeah, and I think it goes beyond money too. I think it's transforming assets, transforming asset classes. It gives the little guy the ability to get in and out of the market without the need for a bank, without the need for some professional 401k manager who makes the majority of his money on the front end, and it doesn't really matter whether you make any money in the long run, right?
Yeah,
And that's kind of,
yeah.
I mean, you can speak to that better than me, but it always seemed to me like, okay, you're getting paid on the front end. Wait a minute, I would rather pay you if you perform, and if you don't perform, I want you to have some skin in the game. But that's not how it works.
Yeah, this is doing what technology always does, which is challenges the status quo. And all those examples in the past where it was unimaginable that technology could take on the newspapers, for instance, and it has. And so here are these really powerful institutions that I used to be part of as well. And yet I can sit on a beach in my shorts and have the same power as Wall Street or London, Corporation of London, City of London, I can be my own custodian. I can set up my own contracts, pretty much do my own derivatives trading. I mean, everything from a beach with a laptop. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the technology is incredible. I remember back when we were traveling and I would have to make a phone call to a broker to make a trade that I wanted to get made because the technology wasn't there for me to do it myself. I'm dating myself a little bit, but we are talking to boomers here. And I'm sure there are others out there. I'm sure there are others out there that have had the same situation. Listen, and you bring up a great point, Bud, because let's just assume that, this frees us up to hopefully travel more coming soon, maybe get these lockdowns over with, but it gives us the ability to on the fly make some decisions and have we have a target. I mean, look here at this, how quickly this market moves. In the end of March, let's just go to March 8th, and it's at 16 cents, and March 14th it's at 42 cents. Okay, and maybe that 40 cent range was a target for you to pivot into something else. Well, you now have the ability to have a laptop and to have a plan up front and know what you're going to do and then execute it yourself within a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back to that question, Paul, then, so what's in it for newbies? Well, look at the growth. This is Facebook on steroids. I mean, Facebook had many years, several years of just straight up growth. And then Twitter came along, and then that had even less time to reach its kind of user base of like billions of people. And here we have cryptocurrency, and it's the new kid on the block. And I can foresee, lots of cycles, lots of ups and downs over the years, but certainly it's pretty obvious where this is going, which is, up. So it's not technology it's Pandora's box. It's already been opened. There's no putting it back now.
Yeah. Well, and you make, again, there's always profit taking. We have a Bitcoin dominance of 55.7%. So you can see, I'll show this chart for those that are watching. If you're not watching, just one of the things on, did I click the wrong thing? There we go. The Bitcoin dominance, as you can see, and what that means is that as a factor of the overall crypto market, that is where Bitcoin lies. So as it relates to the total market cap, Bitcoin right now is at 56%. But you can see the ebbs and flows. And what that means is there are times when profit taking happens and you pull money out of Bitcoin and you put it into other projects. And the cool thing about this market is this truly is a worldwide market. We have people from all over the world that don't have anything in common other than they both hold Digibyte, or they both trade HBAR, or they both trade, XYZ. And so what that does is it creates volatility in the market, and volatility is your friend. As long as you know what you're doing, and as long as you've had some training and recognize how to use that volatility to your advantage. So to answer the question, basically in a nutshell, we are more excited now, or at least I am more excited now for what the future holds for this market than I was in 2017. And trust me, in 2017, when it was going up, I was really excited about it. But now, that was as a hodler, but now I'm even more excited because of the things that Jay teaches at the Bitcoin Academy and how to pivot, how to move from this asset that has reached its, reaching its apex, get out, pivot to one that hasn't begun its run up. And what happens is you turbocharge your your profits, and that's how you create wealth. That's not just investing, that's creating wealth. So I think we can both agree that anybody that is just now getting in the market, and if you don't have a dime in this market right this minute, just be careful right now. There's only a few that I would suggest, and I'm not going to make the suggestion. Go over to bitcoinacademy.com and learn from Jay. But there are several that have reached a point where I probably would not put money in at this point. I would wait for a pullback. But you got to learn where those opportunities are. So would you agree with that, Bud?
Yeah, I'm actually really struggling now to know how to pivot out of some that are going really well that I want to get out of, and so I have pivoted a few trades into XLM because that's one that has been consolidating, but even that's starting to run now, and so these are all. It's kind of a difficult time to jump in, because basically you don't want to do what we've done in the past. We deserve to get burned because, let's face it, we jumped in 2017 and wanted to get rich quick, and if you come in with that mentality, you'll go up for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but then once it starts to go negative on you, you'll make some silly decisions and you will lose money. And so, what we're taught is to buy low, sell high, which is such an easy idea, but very, very hard to practice with all of our emotion that we carry with us.
Yeah, that's 100% right. And if you don't have the right training, listen, you could come in right now and say, I'm going to get in the market, and let's just pick one here.
PPT.
Say that again.
Have you got PPT? I think
I
that's doing a bit of it's taking off as we talk.
Yeah, I do. Let
I
me
know the
pull
group
that
has
up.
got a big holding in this.
That's a good example. Let's pull up Populous. Okay, so yeah, that's a good example right there. Okay, so yeah, we do have a very high target for PPT, but this is not necessarily the spot to buy it, because unless you want to buy it and hold it, there could be some short-term pain here where it drops back to this area. Well, why not wait for a pullback? And this is how we're taught: wait for a pullback and then run it up. You may have a few days of it running sideways or losing a little bit of value, but in the long run, it's not going to take long before it takes off. We are in a bull market, so the majority of these are going to move in the fairly near future up from here. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that had a little bit of money that they wanted to put in the market, and they were going to put it into I think it was OMG. And OMG, I just, you'd be timing it all wrong for OMG. I mean, this is the chart for OMG, and you can see here where it pulled back and then just shot straight up. I didn't even realize it made it to over 11 bucks. But so what we did is we looked at their what they already have in their holdings. They already had some OMG. They already had some Digibyte, which also has run up a little bit. They had some XLM, which again, it also had run up. I think last night it was in the 50s. Yeah. So we looked at, I think HBAR was one that had kind of pulled back, and so put a little bit of money in that. And I'm just saying what they ended up doing. I'm not saying what we're telling anybody to do. We're not telling anybody to do anything. But the point is don't just take a basket of money and throw it into something, and certainly don't just throw it into one project, and then expect, because we're in a bull market, just for it to run up and you don't lose money. I had somebody ask me back when Bitcoin, and it's because the news media will start talking about it, but I had somebody ask if it was a good time to get into Bitcoin, and I would not be buying Bitcoin anywhere near here. And I think when they asked me, it was right around the 60,000 mark. It was back in March, and as you can see, if you would have done that, how sick would you have been if you would have bought at 60 with a target of, let's just go to 80, and then immediately it pulls back and goes and does an ABC down to 51. So you lost 10 grand per Bitcoin in value. Not saying that you lost it, but you've lost it in value. So now you're stuck in that trade. So if something else is a better value, your money's stuck there because you've lost 10,000 per Bitcoin in value. So anyway,
Hey, Paul, can I make another point? And
yeah,
it's
please.
almost bringing this full circle in that I started off talking about that we don't monetize. This channel doesn't have adverts. Trust and integrity is important to all of us that come onto this channel. And I just want the crypto boomers to realize that, we looked at PPT earlier. Now, PPT, in all honesty, has been painful to hold for 3 years. I've been underwater, but I've been adding and adding whilst it was low, continuing to add. I only broke even, I think it was January. And now it's way out the park of in profit. But look at what we've had to hold through. But like, that's your reward, the training, the psychology, being a strong holder, knowing why we hold it. And now we're getting that reward. If you rush into something that's going up, you don't have that same mentality, and you're equally likely to sell it if it has a short-term drop.
Excellent point.
Mm.
Excellent point. And I think with that, we will kind of finish up. That was a good series of questions. I think to just put it in a nutshell, I could not be more excited about this space right now. And I recognize that we are coming up on, within the next 6 weeks or so, we're probably coming up on a pullback on most of the markets, but there's going to be opportunities. And Jay talked about one yesterday in his Patreon where, within the midst of this, we're going to be able to pivot some of the profits because they're not all moving up in concert. Yes, as a general rule, the market is all bullish, but you have some that have, taken off and moved up, like Theta, and then you pivot out of it and put it into something else, and that hasn't started moving. And Jay's got a pretty exciting video on that I'm putting together a plan for in the next few weeks, that during this run up, I'm going to supercharge some of my profits. And then, in the next couple of months, we'll probably be out of the majority of our positions, waiting for a decent sized pullback. I think Jay said sell in May and go away, let it pull back for a couple months into July, August, somewhere in there, and then, buy some get back into some of our positions for the run through the end of the year. So anyway,
Yeah, that's going to take a lot of psychology, isn't it? Staying out the markets.
Yes,
hey,
it is.
Paul, can I for the crypto boomers that want to ask, there's an email they can send, right? You set up, was it btcboomer@yahoo.com?
btcboomer@yahoo.com. And if you have any questions or would like us to chat about anything, just send over an email there, and we'll pick through them, and we'll try to answer some of those questions, because like we've shown today, Bud and I have been in this space for many years. We're some of the originals, and certainly the originals at the Bitcoin Academy. And so we kind of forget what some of those questions were when we started out, and those questions have changed over the years. So if you have any questions, anything that you want an answer to, if we don't have the answer, we've got access to the man, and we could probably get you an answer. But if you want to educate yourself, take the opportunity to educate yourself and go through over 1,500 videos, I would suggest that you go to the Bitcoin Academy. There's a link here that'll take you right to it. Obviously, we're not really affiliated with them in the sense that, I mean, we're educated by them, and I can't be more pro Jay or pro the Bitcoin Academy and George over there than I am, because they've set me up to set us both up to be completely prepared for what we're going through and coming into right now. So anyway, with that, you got anything else, Bud?
Yeah, I think it's the bitcoinacademy.net,
Sorry.
the
Yeah.
bitcoinacademy.net. And I've just really enjoyed this session today, Paul. Really, it's wonderful we're still educating ourselves, and it never stops.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I just got a message from somebody that asked if I would answer a question for him. So I will do that personally, and we may put it on a video here in the next week or two. But don't forget, next Wednesday is what our plan is we're going to have, hopefully have George back. I have not talked to him today. I think he will be back. And then we're going to have Jay on. So any questions you have for Jay, why don't you make sure you send it over to btcboomer@yahoo.com, btcboomer@yahoo.com, and we'll try to get Jay to answer some questions. He's got some really exciting stuff that he can share with us as well. So I'm really excited about getting a chance to get him on video and giving you guys a treat next week. So anyway, until next week, all you crypto boomers, don't forget, we're not just investing. We are creating wealth. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you next week.